evening, folks, or good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Quincy Kane Morris here, and this is live stream number 12. Thank you so much for joining me, for tuning in. If you're just joining us now, please say hello in the chat. Brad, Stan, good to have you. Always good to see you guys. Let me read what you've written to see if you were able to guess what the movies were. Hey, Red, thanks for joining us. There's a couple emojis up top that are describing movies. Let's see if I can walk you guys through it. Okay, number one is it's kind of like a heist movie, but it's kind of a weird heist movie, you know? And so I was hoping that'd be enough of a hint, but if that doesn't quite give it to you, I'm trying to think. I'll give you another one if that's not quite enough. Number two, kind of an older movie. I think it came out in the 90s. Yeah, pretty sure it came out in the 90s. And it involves the Olympics. Okay. And then number three is a movie that is directed by J.J. Abrams and is about some kids. The movie takes place in the 80s. It wasn't made in the 80s. It didn't come out in the 80s, but it takes place in the 80s, and it involves some kids making a movie. So, see if you can take a crack at what that might be. Nope, cliffhanger is incorrect. And, see that everyone's saying hello there. Also, thanks for joining in. I think while you guys are taking a stab at that, Stranger Things is a good guess, but it's not a TV show, it's a movie. That's a pretty good guess, though. Just to give you guys a heads up about tonight, I'm getting over some cold, and so I'm going to be doing all instrumentals tonight. So sorry you won't get to hear my lovely singing voice. But if I had to, I probably could sing, but I just felt like it might be best for me to kind of rest my voice while I'm still getting over some cold and stuff, rather than trying to force it to do some stuff. So we're going to do all instrumentals this evening. So hopefully it's still enjoyable. I'll try to be chatty and all that, but. I'm going to dive into this next song here, which again is another instrumental. A lot of these instrumentals don't have titles because they're kind of unfinished songs. Man, can't talk today. If I can't talk, how am I supposed to sing, you know? So, a lot of them are just kind of unfinished little riffs that are sort of fun to jam on. But anyway, I'm going to dive into the second one, and if you guys can't guess what those movies are, I'll give you a few more hints. Like, yeah. That's cool, Red, that you're a part of Brad's band. Brad was telling me a little bit about it. Brad, I believe you play bass. Red, what instrument do you play? I know y'all are still kind of trying to get things working together. I think Brad mentioned that y'all don't have a drummer right now or something like that. But that's still cool that y'all are kind of, you know, um, just because you don't have like a full band doesn't mean you can't make something work. You know, there's definitely solutions out there. And now, are you guys able to meet locally to practice, or do y'all live kind of in different locations and y'all are having to communicate online? That's awesome, man. Yep. Do you have an electric guitar, or are you just hoping to get one soon so that you can start playing? Um, when I actually first started learning guitar, believe it or not, this guitar that I'm playing, this is my first guitar that I've ever owned. Because I come from a really big family, and I've got three brothers. Two of them play guitar, and my dad plays guitar. So all of them already had acoustic guitars. So I never really needed a guitar. For like as I was growing up, you know, living in that family, I always had access to a guitar. So I never needed one. And it wasn't till it wasn't till later. It was actually kind of tough. What happened was, unfortunately, there was kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Just the wow, I can't think. Um, Business was going bad. There was a big drop in you know, like kind of a big recession back in like 2009, 2010, shortly after I graduated in 2010, and my dad my dad's business, I think, went bankrupt or something like that, and we ended up losing our home, and we had to, you know, some of my family had to move in with my grandmother. I had to move in with my sister and brother-in-law, and during that sometime after that was my birthday, and I remember I remember getting together with my family for my birthday, and they gave me a card, and I opened it up, and all this money just fell out of the card, and I was like, "What the heck?" You know, it was just like way too much money to be in a birthday card, and I read it, and my um, my parents were just saying like, you know, how proud they were of me, and they were saying, and so that's why, you know, you're going to go with Dad tomorrow to a guitar center so you can pick out your own guitar, and you know, things were just kind of, you know, money was tight, things were tough, and it just really meant a lot to me that they were willing to, you know, give me some money just so I could have my own guitar, you know, and so you know, they took me to Guitar Center, and I had been there some time prior, and I'd seen this guitar in there, and I just thought it was beautiful, and so yeah, so I grabbed it, and so this is a very special guitar to me, and yeah, but main point of that whole story being that, you know, for the longest time playing rock and metal, I just played on an acoustic guitar, you know, and I think that did a lot for me, helping me strengthen my fingers and kind of like, you know, getting better at the technique so that whenever I would play like a friend's electric guitar, it was just so much easier to play. Hey Daniel, thanks for joining us. And yes, that's correct. I did put out a video kind of telling that story about how I got the guitar, and uh, yeah, and then that's great, Red. I'm glad that you're going to be getting an electric guitar soon. Don't know. Yeah, just whatever your budget is, you know, just, you know, get something that kind of speaks to you, I guess. Like, I think there's a couple things to keep in mind. Like, most guitars are pretty well made. Like, obviously you want to make sure that you're getting a well made, good quality guitar, but at the same time you want a guitar that, like, that again, like I said, it sounds weird saying it that way, but you want a guitar that when you see it, you just want to pick it up and play it, you know? So don't get some, you might get something and maybe it's a nice guitar, but if it just doesn't like inspire you to pick it up, then, you know, you're not going to play that much. But if it's something that you're like, man, I just look at that thing, I got to grab it, I got to play something on it. And, you know, that's going to get you playing a lot. So, but that's awesome. And yeah, it can be challenging to do things online, but, you know, there's still ways to do it, especially if each of you is kind of learning how to, kind of like record your own parts and stuff. That can be really helpful, to just send each other, you know, hey, here's something I've been working on, check it out. And then you could write something to it and then send back a recording like, hey, here's what I wrote to it. And so, yeah, definitely you can make it work. And I would just encourage you, like, you know, I think it's awesome that you guys are making music together and stuff. And just because you don't have a full band doesn't mean that, you know, don't let that be an excuse just to hold you back. Just try to be creative and think, well, what can we do? You know, with the instruments we have, what kind of music can we make? How can we find solutions? And again, without a drummer, you could just work with like drum loops right now. Or if you kind of learn how to program drums, you can make your own beats and stuff. Again, I mean, I don't have a band, you know, it's just me. But, you know, fortunately, I've learned a lot about playing other instruments and being able to record my own music. And I've actually got a gig coming up next month in October. It's going to be my first solo gig. I'm pretty excited about it, pretty nervous. And it's just going to be me perform, kind of like I do these live streams. It's just going to be me performing with my laptop and a backing track. So that's the great thing about technology. There's a way, you know. So I could make an excuse like, oh, I can't play live yet. I don't have a real drummer. I don't have other other musicians. And it's like, no, don't let that stuff hold you back. You know, just go out there and do it. And you know, maybe maybe when you go out there and do it, that's when you'll start making connections and meeting people, and maybe that's how you'll find your drummer. Yes, Daniel, I would agree with that. Daniel saying that, you know, first guitar is usually very special, and that's kind of how I feel about this one. I'll probably, you know, someday I'll probably get another guitar. You know, not sure what yet, but I'm certain I'll get another guitar. And like, I'd love to get something for the studio, you know, just like a recording monster, and just like get some awesome pickups, maybe get like some things to help with the tuning so that it's like super consistent and you know, just an instrument that just works really well in the studio. But you're right, yeah, never going to sell this. This is always going to be a special guitar, and always going to, you know, keep this at least for sentimental value. But fortunately, not only is it a special guitar, but I've sort of learned its strengths and weaknesses, and I'm pretty pleased with the sound I can get out of it. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, hope you find that encouraging. Daniel, I know you just joined us. Just to give you a heads up, I'm kind of getting over some cold, so I'm going to be doing all instrumentals tonight. So sorry about that. Hopefully that's still amusing. But yeah, I'll go ahead and dive into another one here. Hope you like it. Oh, here's another hint. So I had put up some emojis up top, you know, to describe some movies. Here's another hint, because no one's still getting it. All right, for number one, it's a movie directed by Christopher Nolan. That's probably a big giveaway. I'm starting to think that no one's going to get number three. It's a movie I like, but it's not like a hugely popular movie, so I don't know if anyone's going to get number three. The hints I'd already given, I was saying it's directed by J.J. Abrams. It's about a bunch of kids in the 80s who are trying to make a movie when they witness a big train wreck. That's kind of what happens, and there are aliens in it, so that's a big giveaway right there. And then number two is a movie from the 90s that involves the Olympics and Jamaica. So while y'all are chewing on that, let me go ahead and dive into this next song. go. Awesome, Brad. Thanks for inviting so many people. I appreciate that. That's awesome that he plays keys. What was I gonna say? Yeah, you guys are onto it for number two. I'm trying to think if I can. Hmm. Uh, Hot walking. See if that helps. Hot walking. Darn it, I can't remember what I just said. Did I say something was funny? Funny thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Um, that's all right if he makes it. You know, awesome. If not, maybe he can catch the next one. Um, I was going to say, do any of you guys happen to be interested in skateboarding or anything like skateboarding and stuff? And along with that, that's my segue into the title of this video. I was just going to share with you all a story of my recent adventure at the skate park. So if any of you like skating, let me know because I love skateboarding. Or if you like something similar to skateboarding, let me know what it is you like to do for fun. But along with that, I have to say, when I'm trying to come up with these videos, it's really hard to like I haven't posted the video yet, so I don't even know what's going to happen in the stream. So coming up with titles is really hard. So if any of you guys have um, you know, uh, any opinions about like what you would consider to be a good title, like hey, you should title your videos like this or something, I'm up for suggestions. So because titles are tricky to come up with for these live streams. But anyway, I enjoy skateboarding. I go to the skate park every Saturday, and I've got a buddy who has an Instagram page called Beautiful Skateboarding, and he documents the local skate scene where I'm from. My skate park's in Charlottesville, Virginia, and he's a friend of mine, and so we met a couple years ago. Excuse me. And he makes content for his Instagram page, and it was around Halloween time in October, and he was saying hey, I'm getting people to dress up in costumes and do some skate tricks for like Halloween. You want to do that? And I actually love Halloween. I just like dressing up, for fun and stuff. That was always my favorite holiday as a kid. Plus my birthday's in October, so like. And fall's my favorite season, so there's just a lot of reasons for me to like October and Halloween. But as you get older, you don't really have much reason to dress up, and so getting to dress up and then film a skate part, to me sounded like a lot of fun. So first year I dressed up as Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, my childhood hero, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun, kind of doing some tricks in that costume. And he put the Pokemon theme song to the part, and it was just so much fun. And so then I was thinking, like, maybe this can be like my thing, because skating's just a hobby, but I thought like maybe this is a good way for me to like each year I could film a video part to sort of monitor my progress and just try to get better each year at skateboarding, and then it would give me something to dress up for. So last year I said, hey, would you want to do another one? And he's like, yeah, totally, man. So I dressed up as Napoleon Dynamite and shot another video part, and that one came out good. So this year, I wanted to do it again, and I've been really working hard at it. Like the first time we did it, it was kind of like spur of the moment. Like we just whatever I could do that day, that's what we shot. Second one, I prepared a little bit more for, but definitely underestimated. Like when you go to actually, there's always so much more pressure when someone's filming you do the trick. So that kind of taught me, like, man, if I'm gonna do something heavy, like I really need to practice in advance so that I'm ready for the camera. So I've actually been practicing for like the past 3 months, like trying to work towards some tricks that I'd really like to do for this video part. And it's really hard because, even if you land the trick, that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to land it like first try for the camera. It's probably gonna take a few tries. And obviously with skateboarding, depending on the trick, there's some risk involved. So like, yeah. Anyway, we're going to be shooting in October, and last Saturday I was trying out a new trick, and it was on a quarter pipe. For those of you who don't know, that's like the ramp that kind of curves up like that, and it's kind of flat at the top. And I was doing a trick at the top of the ramp. It was only like yay high. Well, no, it's taller than that. Yeah, it's like maybe a 4-foot ramp, something like that, 4 foot tall. But it's a concrete skate park. And I went up to do the trick, and it was kind of this odd movement that I hadn't really done before. And anytime you do a new trick, you kind of just got to get that first try out of the way with. That's kind of inevitable. And so I was just really, I was kind of nervous to do it, but I was just hoping like, well, maybe this first try will go all right, and maybe this will help me understand like what I need to do to land the trick. But unfortunately, all it took was one try, and I kind of got tangled up, and I just fell straight to the flat and landed like on my right butt cheek and my palms, and so falling just 4 feet to the flat on cement did not feel good. Hurt my tailbone, kind of bruised my right cheek a little bit and my palms, and that was my skating day for that day. Thankfully I had already skated for like 2.5 hours, so it was kind of near the end of my session. Now it wasn't necessarily like that wasn't even it wasn't the worst slam, but I think it's just kind of stressful because it's like, darn it, I did not want to get hurt when it's so close to shooting time, So I'm hoping, I've been doing everything I can to like recover as quickly, and I'm feeling pretty good. I actually tried skating today, and I can roll around on the board and, do some manuals and stuff. Manuals kind of like a wheelie, for those of you who don't know. But when it comes to doing like actual tricks, it kind of hurts my tailbone a bit. So I'm hoping I'll be recovered enough to skate this Saturday. I'm pretty confident that I'll be recovered enough in time for the skate part, but I'm hoping to recover sooner than that so that I can keep practicing and working on the tricks that I want to shoot for it. So anyway, that's my story about skateboarding. Skateboarding, it's a little challenging, but, don't let my injury scare you. Really, the injuries only happen from, like, first off, you want to be smart. You want to assess what you can do, and for the most part, I am. This was something that I was certain I could do, but I do think I was just pushing myself a little too much. I was kind of, I don't know, skating, I'm trying to think how to describe it. I guess it's kind of like music where you're just kind of like, really pushing yourself to get better and better. But the only problem is in music, if you push yourself, like you don't get injured for it, not usually at least. Skateboarding, if you kind of push the limits, there is a bit of a risk of hurting yourself. But if you're just kind of learning on flat ground, learning your basics and stuff, part of skating is learning how to fall. And it's going to happen a lot. It's normal to fall in skateboarding, but the more you fall, the more you kind of learn how to fall, like without hurting yourself, and you just kind of get back up and try again. And there's a lot of steps you can take. Like you can just step on a skateboard in the grass first, and just kind of get used to standing on it and kind of, lifting up the front wheels and stuff and kind of turning. And once you feel good, then you can try it on, some pavement. If you've got a friend, someone to kind of hold your arms while you're sort of rolling and kind of learning how to just stand on it and working on your balance. And little by little, you just kind of build those building blocks. But I love it. So if you guys are interested in trying it, I would encourage you definitely do that. And it might help to get like a proper skateboard. If you just go to the toy store and get like, some cheapo board there, usually they don't operate very well, so that's probably not going to help you. But if you get like a good quality board, then it's going to operate a lot. It's going to work with you a lot better, and you're going to have a better chance at skating it. Yes, a hoverboard from Back to the Future, that would be sweet. Uh, you know, I don't know if y'all saw like a while back. I think it was an anniversary for Back to the Future, and they made a little video with Tony Hawk about hoverboards, and some people thought it was real. And it was totally obvious that it wasn't real. Like they edited out the wheels and stuff, but it was kind of like a little documentary. Like, yes, we finally made hoverboards. But people were like, "Oh my gosh, is this real?" And it's like, no, it's not real. But But I think there is like a real hoverboard that Tony Hawk rode on, but it's like it's only hovering like a couple inches off the ground, and it's like this huge like, you know, machine thing. Daniel, so the skate park that I'm doing my gig at, the way the rig's going to work, it's actually the same rig that I've got right now for my live stream. So it's just my guitar going into my interface, and then my interface is hooked up to my laptop, and then the laptop, you know, is playing. Like I've got my guitar, I'm just playing through amp sims in my laptop. So it's a virtual amp and it's a virtual cab, and a few other plugins. I'll be playing with the backing track on my laptop, and then basically from my interface, we'll route it out to the PA system. So my interface has a left and right output, and we'll plug that into the PA system. And so the same way that you guys are hearing it, or the way I'm hearing it in my headphones, it's just, you just play that through the speakers. And so I hit play on my laptop, and everyone can hear the backing track through the speakers, and they can hear my guitar coming through the speakers and stuff. So, so yeah, that's my rig. Just like, so it's kind of cool. It's just my guitar and just a bag with my laptop. It's like, yep, I'm ready to go. You know, no huge amp, no huge cab to lug around and stuff. And probably only other gear I'll have, I'm still trying to figure out like to set up like a little merch table or something like that. But yeah, that's essentially it. That's right, Daniel. There's going to be a few other bands playing, and I contacted one of them. That's a pretty big band, and they're going to be bringing the PA system and stuff. So yeah, so it's not like it's up to me to bring my own things. 'Cause yeah, I've been talking with them and stuff. I have been thinking about that a little bit though, and I'm on the fence about investing in a portable PA system. There's one, man, I can't remember what it's called right now. It's from Bose. I don't know. It's something that's got really good reviews. It's like a $500, $600 portable PA system, and it just looks very simple to use. And it would be the same thing, you know, my laptop and stuff. Although I'd have to bring my own microphone too. And then yeah, you just plug into that PA system. And so I'm thinking about getting something like that, just so that I have the option to play like, you know, smaller gigs and stuff, and certain venues that don't have like a PA system or something. I was going to say, that's the other thing. For this gig, they'll have a PA system, so I'm just going to use whatever mic they have available and let them, you know, kind of balance the mic with the backing track and stuff. But if I had to, this mic is going into, I've got a couple preamps and well, one preamp and one compressor. The mic's going into that, and then going through all that, and then that's going into my other input on my interface and stuff. So I'd rather not have to bring all that stuff, but if I ever needed to, that's how I would do vocals. If it came to Xbox versus Nintendo versus PlayStation, I gotta, you know, they're all great systems. You know, they all have good games and stuff. But if I had to choose, I'm a PlayStation boy. You know, I just kind of grew up with PlayStation, and I like a lot of the games for PlayStation. I like a lot of the exclusives for PlayStation, and yeah, so that's what I'm a fan of. What about the rest of you? PlayStation, Xbox, uh, Nintendo, or PC Master Race? Yeah, you know, it's crazy just how far technology has come, because you see people like packing up their van with all this gear and all this heavy equipment, and they got to unload for the show and then load it back up and stuff. And even, you know, the band that I was in, wow, that was a long time ago. It's like 2012, 2015 era, kind of back then. You know, we were playing through we were using combo amps, but even still, you know, had to bring a big old amp and set that up and get that mic'd and stuff. And again, thankfully, the venues we played at had PA systems and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty incredible, like what technology allows you to do. So. But yeah, let me know what game system you like, and also if you guys play video games. Let me know what video games you like. I'll share a few of mine in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do another song for you, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about video games. Speaking of video games, I don't know if any of you guys are Monster Hunter fans, but I'll come up with like temporary titles for my song ideas and stuff. And this is an unfinished song. I actually plan to finish the song I just played. I plan to finish it someday and write words to it. But the current title for it is Shadow of the Rathalos. And the Rathalos is one of the dragons that you can hunt in Monster Hunter. So, fun little fact for you. Yes, those are good games. Almost all the Mario games, the people who make the Mario games, they do a good job because there's very few like bad Mario games and stuff. And again, I haven't played a whole lot of Nintendo games, but I've just through friends and certain opportunities like. Nintendo definitely makes some of the best like party games too, So again, when we, having a Wii, like that was the best thing. It was just, getting with the family and playing games together. So yeah, there's definitely some good games. And my nephew, he's got. Well, we have a Nintendo Switch. It's kind of like ours. I kind of get to keep it so that he's not playing it all the time, but he and I will play games together and stuff. And let's see, we just beat Castle Crashers. And we're starting to play Lego City Undercover on it and stuff. But we were playing like Mario Kart 8, I think, on it for a while. And I think we're gonna get one of the Zelda games soon. And which I haven't personally played a Zelda game, but from what I've seen, I hear they're very good and they look like really cool games. Brad, how old are we talking here? How old? Because it's kind of funny. A lot of my friends kind of joke on me because like PS5 just came out, and I'm still playing like PS2 games. There's just so many good games, even from the past. And yeah, like I have a PS4. I'm kind of joking. I'm currently playing a PS4 game, but no joke, I was playing PS3, and my brother and I just recently beat a PS2 game. So like I still play a lot of PS2 games. I've even got some PS1 games that I'll play sometimes. Um, as far as what those games are, there was a game called Shadow of Rome. I don't know if you guys ever played it, but it was a PS2 game made by Capcom, the same people who made like Resident Evil and stuff. And it's basically kind of like the movie Gladiator, but a PlayStation game of it, and with some cheesy dialogue. But it was just a blast playing through that with my brother, because the game is so much fun. But then it's fun to like watch the cutscenes and just kind of, I don't know, for some reason the main character, they don't make him come off as very bright, so it's just kind of fun to laugh at some of his lines and stuff. But so that's a fun one. That's really cool, Daniel. Daniel saying that a lot of his inspiration for his music comes from video games. And I think you're right about that. It's really cool how. Let me see if I can think of an example. I mean, I played an instrumental earlier that has kind of this. I don't know what you call it, like this arpeggio kind of thing. This. And you could totally take that and like make like an underwater theme, or like going through a castle, if you played that like on a keyboard or something and just had like a lot of ambience to it. And even some of the chords. That's the cool thing about music, is like I think it's more than just the style, it's the notes, you know? And there are some chord progressions or some melodies that just they're so good and they can translate to multiple styles. You could play it as a metal song, you could play it as a video game soundtrack, you could do it orchestral, electronic, you could do a chill version, you could do a really intense version. Like, that's just a cool thing about music, is like when you find those notes that just create like a vibe. It's not just the distortion. It's something about that movement of notes, and then going has this kind of like dark, mysterious sound to it, and that can translate to anything, not just heavy metal. And yeah, there's definitely some good classic games. My brother, same one I was playing PS2 games with. He's got a Super Nintendo right now, and he's got he's got a Sega Genesis, and he's married. He's got a couple kids, and so he's been playing like a lot of the old games that like he grew up with. He's been playing that with his kids. So they have a bunch of like Disney games like Lion King and Aladdin and stuff, and I think for the Super Nintendo they've got a Mario game. It's funny, his kids love. I think it's just Super Mario Bros. I'm not sure which one, but for Super Nintendo. And his kids love it. His son actually wants to be Mario for Halloween, so I think that's totally cute. But they're playing it, and he was telling me how, like, man, those games are hard. Like, just because they're old doesn't mean like that they're like super easy or anything. Some of those games are really, really challenging. And in general, I mean, video games have some great music. There's been a lot of great composers who make some good music. Um, I don't know if any of you are survival horror fans, but survival horror is actually one of my favorite video game genres. Um, and the funny thing is, well, I never got a chance to play the Silent Hill games. I've got them on the list. I'm planning to get those games. But I have listened to the heck out of the Silent Hill soundtrack, especially Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but that's like one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Just the music is so, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's really cool music, and it's very vibey, but there's different levels of intensity. Like there's the really like aggressive, like it's still somehow ambient and kind of mysterious, but it's like really aggressive and heavy. And then there's the very like angelic kind of like soft catch your breath kind of music, and then there's like the thought provoking kind of like thinking music and stuff. I don't know. It's a great soundtrack. So I don't know if any of you have heard that, but that's one of my favorites. So I definitely intend to play those games at some point. I'm trying to think if there's any other games. One of my favorite video game series is the God of War franchise, and I always liked the music from the God of War games. Oh, BioShock. Have any of you played BioShock? Oh my gosh, talk about that's got great music. I love the music in BioShock, and it's so cool how it's like it's kind of creepy, kind of mysterious and eerie, but it's like they recorded it like this using the same method that they would have recorded it in the time period that the game takes place in. So what I mean by that, the game came out in like 2006, I think. But you know, the game takes place in like the 1950s, 1950s or something like that. So they recorded the soundtrack using the same methods that they would have used in like the 1930s, 1940s, that kind of era. And it's, you know, it's like orchestral music, but I don't know. That's one of my favorite video game soundtracks. I'm going to play another piece of music for you, but yeah, if you've got any favorite video game soundtracks or any movie soundtracks that you like, please leave a comment letting me know what those are. Let me know what are some soundtracks that inspire you. What's some music that's just like, you know, whether it inspires you in a creative way or inspires you like, man, this makes me want to like be adventurous, or this makes me want to work out, or this makes me want to dance. I don't know, you know. Just let me know what are some soundtracks from video games and movies that have inspired you. Yes, Daniel. Let me know when you come up with that video. I'd love to see that. Like you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Uh, yeah, Daniel, let me know the title of that and I'll check that out. I've seen Last of the Mohicans, but it's been a while, so I can't really remember the music. If it's what's kind of funny is if it's the piece of music that takes place near the end of the movie, like I know there's a scene, there's like kind of a little fight on the cliff. I remember people falling off a cliff or something like that. If it's that music, I might vaguely remember that because I actually remember going to a friend's house when I was like a kid, and his dad was watching that movie. I didn't know what it was at the time, but seeing people fall off the cliff was kind of like not traumatizing, but that was kind of hard to see as a kid. I was just a little kid. I was like, oh my gosh, But and so I like vaguely remember this like suspenseful music during that scene. And then yeah, Brad, like, you know, um, piano, kind of like, mysterious kind of stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've actually got a song. Here, I'll give you a little snippet. It's going to be a metal song, but it's going to have kind of this spooky piano part in it. And the guitar is going to follow the same riff. It goes kind of like. So that's a little snippet of that. That's pretty close on the list. Like I'm working on a new song right now, but that one might be the next one I'm going to work on. I'm really looking forward to that one. So imagine that little riff, but with like a piano playing it. And so it's kind of has that dark castle kind of, spooky sound. And it's kind of bittersweet. Like it's mysterious, but it's pretty, and but it's heavy, and I don't know. It's cool. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. And yeah, the fact that I can vaguely remember it, probably means yeah, that's probably a good piece of music right there. And then Brad, I'll check out those recommendations as well. That sounds like some cool stuff. If we're talking movie music, I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, I feel like John Williams is like the obvious answer, because he's just written so many classics. So yeah, I love a lot of. He's got so many good pieces of music. I'm trying to think if there's like anything kind of like unique from like a specific piece of music. I really like the music from the Jason Bourne trilogy. That's some cool stuff. I'm trying to remember who was the composer on that. Na, 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 na. Dun, 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 dun. Drawing a blank on the composer's name right now, but that's some good stuff. Howard Shore is. I always get Howard Shore mixed up with. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Is it John? Darn it, there's two composers I always get mixed up. Howard Shore is a really good composer. I mean, obviously he did The Lord of the Rings, and that's got some great music in it. But there's another composer. Man, I always forget his name. Unfortunately, he's passed, but he did. I think he collaborated with Ron Howard a lot. That's why I get the two mixed up. And I think his name is John something John. I know this sounds kind of silly. I know he did the music for The Grinch, which I do like the music in that, the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. But he's done other. He's written some really beautiful pieces of music for some other movies too. I'm just totally drawing a blank on them right now. Okay, so a couple things real quick. One, that's cool that you guys are listening through headphones because, yeah, you're probably going to get a better listening experience. My guitar is actually panned to the right. The only reason, so the way you're hearing this music, the drums are stereo, so the kick and the snare are coming through the center, so you'll hear them in both headphones. And certain parts of the kit, like the middle tom is in the center, and then some of the other parts of the kit are slightly panned out, so the drums have a little bit of a stereo effect. Like some of the cymbals are on the left side, some of the cymbals are on the right side. The bass guitar is in the center because that's the foundation of the mix. My vocals are in the center, but the guitars, there are two guitars, and one is panned to the left and one is panned to the right. So my backing track has a guitar that is pre-recorded, and that guitar is panned to the left. My guitar is panned to the right. So yeah, when I'm playing by myself, you're only going to hear me on the right. But when we're playing together, you'll hear both of the guitars at the same time, and it kind of blends in and balances out. What was I going to say? And then anyone who's listening to this through like their phone or through a computer, basically they're listening through a mono source, so they're not going to hear the left and right anyway, and the mix just kind of plays through one speaker all at the same time. So, but yeah, there you go. So your right ear gets all the special treatment when I'm playing by myself, but when I'm playing through the mix, don't worry, we'll give the left ear some attention. Um, I don't know. Depends on Brad. It depends on what movies you've seen because I think there's a lot of great composers out there who have made good music for both video games and for movies. I don't think it's a matter of which one is better or worse. I think it just depends on what you've seen because you can. Some of my favorite soundtracks are from movies, and some of my favorite soundtracks are from video games and stuff. But there's so many movies and there's so many video games. I don't think they're really. Maybe it's music for different things, but I think at the end of the day, it's who cares if it was music written for a video game or a movie? If it's good music, it's good music. So I think, and especially when it comes to inspiration, inspiration can come from anywhere. So if you're someone who doesn't watch a lot of movies, maybe watching a movie, maybe you'll find some inspiration from that. Or if you don't play a lot of video games, maybe you'll be surprised to play a video game and say, hey, I wasn't really into this, but the music was fantastic. Speaking of which, I know, what was it? I watched a movie recently. Man, what movie was that? That's going to bug me. I watched a movie recently. Oh, it was I was checking out some Alfred Hitchcock stuff. I watched the movie Vertigo. I hadn't seen an Alfred Hitchcock movie before, and I know he's regarded as this legendary director. I really wanted to see the movie. I really wanted to like the movie. And, legendary director. It's got James Stewart in it. He's a great actor. But it was just a little too slow paced for my liking and stuff. And I'd be willing to give it another chance. I'll have to watch it again sometime. But my initial watch of it, it was just, it just took a long time for things to happen. And, it was just, yeah. Now, I was interested enough to kind of skim through it and see how the movie ended, but I couldn't, just sit through and watch the whole thing. But with that said, while I didn't, totally enjoy the movie, the music was fantastic, especially the opening theme. Really, really beautiful, intense, and, that. So, good music can be found anywhere, and inspiration can come from anywhere. Yeah, that would suck if someone if their headphones only the left ear worked, they wouldn't hear me at all. They'd hear my voice, but they wouldn't get to hear that. I remember when I was younger, me and my friends, uh, we used to share earbuds. We'd be listening to music in the car when we were driving somewhere and stuff, and we'd each share an earbud. And it was always so funny. Sometimes there's songs where the band will cut out, and then it's just a guitar by itself, and then everything kicks in. And so it was always really funny when we would always kind of bet who's gonna get it, so the band would cut out, and then the person with the right earbud, they'd get it, and the person with the left would be like, oh, man, I'm getting nothing over here, it would just cut out, so that was fun. Stan, I saw your comment about Eddie and the Cruisers. Thank you for letting me borrow that movie. I still have to watch it. I was watching some stuff on Prime, but yeah, I'll have to get around to that one soon. I think I should be able to watch that pretty soon. Interesting. Strange Days. I'll have to check that one out. I'll definitely look that up. And yeah, like I was saying, it's just my guitar that's panned to the right. So if someone was listening through like just the left headphone, they'd hear the backing track still. They would hear my voice because my voice is coming through both speakers. They would hear the bass because that's coming through both speakers, and they would hear the drums. Now there's maybe certain cymbal hits that they wouldn't hear. I can't remember. I don't know if the drums are panned hard left and right, so some hits might just be quieter than other hits because they're panned slightly off to the side. But yeah, the only thing that they would really be missing is just my guitar if they only had the left speaker. But yeah, let me go ahead and play another song for you guys. And let me think here. Don't know. Totally drew blank. All right, here's another one for you. Yes, good job, Red. Number 2 is Cool Runnings. Funny movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'll need to rewatch that one again. But number 2 is Cool Runnings. Brad, yeah, whatever your suggestion is, yeah, definitely. Let me hear it. And Daniel, so you're right. I don't have a way to change to a pure clean tone. That would be nice. Now, sometimes in between songs, I do have another amp I have another channel set up. So I'll, let me think. Yeah, so whatever one I want to play through, I have to turn on this input that pretty much activates my signal going through it. So right now I've got it going through a channel with a distorted amp, but if I was doing a song that was all just clean tone, I would turn off the input on that channel, and then on another channel I've got a clean amp. I would turn that input on and play through that. But if I'm doing a song where I need to change on the fly, I use my pickup and I switch to my neck, and I've got the tone turned down. So here the tone's turned all the way up. But if I turn the tone knob down, you get kind of more of a crunch thing. So it's not purely clean. But, it's enough to, kind of play those sections and stuff. So kind of a duct tape solution, I guess you could call it. But, it works for what I need right now. Um, let's see. Yeah, Stan. I know. Yeah, I know the music might be a little bit older, but you know, yeah, it might still be cool. I know. There's a few like classic songs that I do like, and I compare a lot of. I kind of compare classic rock to chocolate, and here's what I mean by that. And this analogy might only work for me because I know some people love chocolate. You know, if someone asked me like, "Hey, would you like some chocolate ice cream?" I'd be like, "Sure," you know, because chocolate's awesome. Chocolate tastes great, and so I would have chocolate ice cream. But if I went into an ice cream shop and I had to choose what kind of ice cream I want, I would almost never choose chocolate. Not because it's not good, but just because there are other flavors that I like better. Um, and that's kind of how I feel about classic rock. Like whenever I hear classic rock, it's like, yeah, it rocks. You know, it's good. So, but you know, as far as like what I choose to spend my time listening to, a lot of times classic rock doesn't make it. Not because it's not good. It's just there are just other things that connect with me more or enjoy. You know, that I enjoy more. And yeah, I'll check out the movie. And yeah, I'll be curious to kind of. I like good characters and stuff. So you know, music's kind of secondary to the movie anyway. So. Um, Brad, I'm not totally sure what um, what you're trying to suggest. So some bands swap the role of guitar and bass. I'm guessing what you mean by that is maybe some people play like some down tune guitars and the bass is playing up higher on the neck or something. I'm not sure if that's kind of what you're saying. I do know there are some bands where maybe the bass is kind of in the spotlight more. And some bands can definitely, you know, usually the bass is kind of playing the low end, kind of holding down the foundation of the mix, but there are definitely bass solos or bass situations where they might play something a bit more like a solo or like a lead part that kind of sticks out. Yeah, I guess 50s would be classic. When I think classic rock, I mean more like maybe 60s through 80s, that kind of stuff, you know. Um, just, you know, just all the like hits from back then, you know. And I'm not sure what you mean by what if you sawed the piano and vocals. I don't know if that's a typo or if you mean like if you sawed a piano in half. I'm not sure what you mean by like. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but um, yeah. And 3 Days Grace Riot, like I like that song and I like that band, but I'm not sure what you mean by just typing that. Daniel, so amp sims, if you're not familiar, um, sim is short for simulator or simulation. Um, do you use any kind of recording software on your computer right now? Like, because what I use, so basically on my computer, in the same way that you might edit a video, you know, there's different editors for different kinds of things. There's software for editing video clips. There's software for editing pictures, you know, and there's software for editing audio recordings, you know, music. And so the software that I use is called Logic Pro, and it comes with, you know, basically a timeline that has your recorded audio, and you're able to edit that audio. You can cut it up, you can adjust the volume, and there's a bunch of tools that you can use to manipulate how that audio sounds. Those tools are called plugins. Um, and there's different things you can use. There's an EQ, that's an equalizer, and basically that's almost like a volume knob for different frequencies. So if there's an instrument that has a lot of bass to it, and it's like, man, that's really boomy, we need to turn that down, you can use an EQ to turn down the low end so that the instrument's a bit thinner and fits in the mix better. Same thing, if an instrument is kind of dull sounding, you could turn up the high end and give it a little more brightness so that it kind of stands out more. There are compressor plugins. Compressors are like, they kind of squeeze the audio. You know, they compress it. Some audio can be very dynamic, like it can be kind of quiet and then loud and then quiet and then loud. And a compressor basically squeezes that so that it's not so dynamic, so that it kind of stays in the same place. And that kind of helps the mix have more consistency to it, and kind of keeps stuff from like, you know, being present and then all of a sudden like disappearing in the mix and then coming out again. You know, compressors are pretty helpful. But an amp sim, that's another type of plugin, and basically the way that works, instead of me plugging into a real guitar amp, I'm just plugging into my interface. So I am sending, like 1 second, I'll even show you. Okay, so I just turned the amp sim off. This is what my guitar sounds like. I'm just sending the direct signal of my guitar into the interface, and then I put on a virtual amp sim, and yeah, and it just and it distorts the sound. Now here's the thing though, the amp will distort it, but it doesn't really sound good because it needs to go through a cabinet. So if I just put on the amp sim, yeah, how do you like that tone? Yeah, it's pretty irritating, you know, because it needs to go through a speaker. And basically the same way that the amp is simulated, you can simulate speakers, which I think you are familiar with, impulse responses. And yeah, that's what that is. So I turn on the cabinet, the virtual cabinet. And now it sounds, you know, much more pleasant. Sorry, Brad. Sorry if I hurt your ears. Interesting, Brad. I know I've heard that song before, but I'll have to listen to that and kind of hear. Oh, and you mean swapped? Yeah, you can definitely swap roles. I mean, that's kind of what I was sort of trying to tell you earlier. You know, with your own band, you know, just because you don't have like a full lineup, that's an opportunity to be creative and just swap roles and just, you know, try something different. You know, there is sort of like the bass has a standard role. You know, it's usually known for just playing the root notes of the chords and stuff. But that doesn't mean that you can't be experimental and like, I mean, heck, I've got my cousin, I give her music lessons, and she's into this band called, what are they called? Oh my gosh, what are they called? Totally drawn a blank. But it's like two brothers, and one of them plays bass and one of them plays drums, and that's it. And but the way he plays bass, he kind of like he almost plays it like a guitar. You know, he'll have like the bass line, but then he'll add like extra notes and stuff. You know, and just kind of play little melodies and things like that. So, you know, you can do whatever. That's a cool thing about music. You can do whatever you want. Huh, that's interesting. That's a pretty cool setup there, Daniel. And and yeah, you're right. Yeah, basically, it's a virtual rig, and this is the same rig like I'm going to be using in for my concert and stuff. It's just a virtual rig. And you're kind of right that it's sort of the same thing. It's similar to like Kemper's, and I think there's a Torpedo Live. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a piece of software, but or what? Sorry, that's more like hardware, I guess. But yeah, you know that's like an actual rig, so it's not a computer, but it's a virtual you know, amp rig that you can plug into and kind of take to your gigs. And that way, what the advantage of that is that you basically get the same sound wherever you play at. You know, sometimes from night to night, if you're miking a cab, you know, the mic, if it's a little off, it might, you know, it can change the sound of the tone, and also depending on the venue, it might change the way it's perceived and stuff. So, yeah. I actually love the cello. I don't know how to play any bowed instruments. My brother can play fiddle, but when it comes to like orchestral music and stuff, I'd love to learn cello. I think that's a cool instrument because it's kind of like it's not quite a bass, but it's not quite a violin. It's like somewhere in between, so you can get like these really heavy, aggressive notes, but then you can kind of play up higher on the neck and play some really pretty sounding melodies and stuff. Right, an amp modeler. And Brad, I think I know what you're talking about, but it's actually a different band. Gosh, yeah, I'm not sure. They don't play cellos though. One plays a bass guitar, unless you're just mentioning another band of two brothers who play cellos and stuff. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to be wrapping up here soon to get me some dinner. But I've really enjoyed chatting about guitar rigs, about instrument roles, video game music, composers, that kind of thing. Like, it's been a fun chat. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming out. Got one more song for you. And I know it's hard to say goodbye, so that's why I saved this song for last. This song is called Hard Goodbyes. Which actually, real quick, I thought y'all might want to hear this. I'm going to play some of my backing track real quick so you can hear what it sounds like if I'm not playing along with it. So if I'm not playing, hear how the right ear, there's nothing in there. You can hear the other guitar though. Yep, so that's what that sounds like. And then I just come in. Yep, that's how that works. All right, this one's called Hard Goodbyes. separate directions. Slowly but surely, you disappear into the distance. I know what movie that is, but we'll see if Red can get it. I don't think anyone's gotten movie 1 and 2 yet. Let's see, before I head out, let's see if someone can get these movies. Movie number 1. It's kind of like a heist movie. I think it came out in 2010. And it was, this is probably going to be a big giveaway, but it was directed by Christopher Nolan. And it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. So that's that one. Y'all got number 2. That was Cool Runnings. Number 3, directed by J.J. Abrams, is a movie that takes place in the 80s. Now, I think the movie actually came out like 2011 or something like that. Takes place in the 80s. It's about kids trying to make a movie. And there's this, while they're shooting a scene for a movie, they witness a big train wreck, and there are aliens involved. So, does anyone have any idea what those movies are? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is that what that is? TMNT? The Island? Nope. All right, I think I'm going to give the answer in a little bit. I'll wait just a little longer, see if anyone else has a guess. But these ones have been unanswered for quite some time. No, not Pirates of the Caribbean. Which I don't know if y'all scrolled back up to the top to see the emojis, or if they're just way, I know that was quite some time back. Here, I'll post them one more time while you guys are guessing. No worries, Daniel. Maybe I'll need to come up with another game. I love movies, so I do all right at this game. When I'm the one being questioned, unless I haven't seen the movie, that always makes it harder. So. All right, I'm going to reveal some answers. Number 3 is the movie Super 8. I don't know, have any of you seen that movie, Super 8? If you haven't, I really like it, but it's about a few kids, and they're making a movie, and they end up witnessing this. They're shooting a scene for their movie at a train station, and a train ends up coming by, and they're like, oh, this is going to be great, production value. So they're filming the scene while the train's coming by, but then something happens. There ends up being an accident, and the train goes off the rails, and there's this big wreck and stuff. And there was some kind of cargo in the train that ends up, getting out. And they see glimpses of it, but they don't quite catch what it is. So they just witness this thing, and they're kind of, having to deal with that and stuff. So if you haven't seen that, that's a pretty good movie, Super 8. All right, that one, yeah. Now, when I was posting these, Stan was like getting them all. So I was definitely trying to pick some harder ones, but maybe I went a little too hard. I would think that you guys have seen this first movie. So first movie, again, came out in 2010, directed by Leonardo, stars Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Christopher Nolan. It's kind of like a heist movie, similar to Groundhog Day, but not quite. The movie is Inception. So, have you guys seen Inception? Please tell me you have, because that's a great movie. So, yeah, you can see the person going to sleep because the movie's about dreams. And 1 second, what else did I put? There's the little cycle things that just imply that they're going deeper and deeper into the dream. And the first dream has the rainy day, and there's a chase scene, and they're inside the van. The next scene, what is it? Well, I'll have to look at the emojis, but it goes through. There's one point where they're on a snowy mountain and they're skiing and stuff, and yeah. Wow, Brad, you've never seen Inception? You need to do yourself a favor and watch that movie. So that's a good one. Yeah, Stan, do you get it now? Yeah. That I'm pretty sure Stan's seen the movie based off his response. But anyway, guys, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate you guys watching. Anyone who's watching or watching on the replay, thanks for watching. That's a lot of watching happening. If you'd like to support me, there's a virtual tip jar in the link in the description. I'm also going to post a few links in a moment here. And, anything that helps, I just appreciate you supporting me so that I can keep doing this and bring you bigger and better content eventually. Still kind of working on building up some finance from all this. But if you don't have the financial means to support me, it really helps just to like the video and to subscribe and to share it. Brad, thank you for inviting friends. I really appreciate that. Sharing the video and inviting people, that's very helpful, especially if you know or you're certain that they're going to enjoy the streams, enjoy this kind of music and stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a new video that I just posted on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't seen it, it's a one-man band video, me performing all the instruments, guitar, vocals, bass, and drums, for my new song, Waking Up. So if you haven't seen that, be sure to go by my YouTube channel and check that out. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a good night or morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Hey, Pablo, sorry you're joining like right at the end of the stream, but I'll be doing this again next week, so hopefully you can join in. Brad, even if you know the plot, it's still a really good movie, and just from what I told you, I did not give anything away at all. So there's still a lot to appreciate about the movie. It's a good one. You should watch it. All right, I'm out of here. See ya.